Now bounce it.
What?
Go for it.
Good Lord, okay. I'm sweating, Jason.
I'm asking you to do it.
I know. This doesn't make any sense. Hey everybody, not in studio. I'm here at a special place with my buddy Jason.
Joel, good to see you.
Good to see you. This is Gentle Giant Studios. And by the looks of our friend behind us, you do some pretty incredible stuff.
Pretty amazing stuff.
Pretty amazing stuff. What is Gentle Giant Studios?
Well, I think I could summarize it really easy, and then we can go deeper in it. But as Rick Baker once said, Gentle Giant Studios is a cross between Frankenstein's laboratory and Santa's workshop. And I think that's what you get here.
I kind of got a look at behind the scenes a little bit. You know, we had a touch, and we get to take everybody through this, which is amazing. What's your background?
So my background has nothing to do with this. I was a skater kid from New Jersey that landed with a video camera in his hand, so I went to art school to learn how to make film and video to make skate videos. Next thing you know, I'm standing in here almost 30 years later.
I know they're going to want to see a lot of really cool stuff, and I'm kind of fearful Jabba's going to drop us in the Rancor pit. Can we move along?
Let's go back and get deep.
What makes it amazing to show you guys this and introduce you to Jason is the amount of additive they're doing and how revolutionary it is.
It's next level. A big reason for this is, you know, we're known 26 plus years of providing the quality that you've seen already just walking in the building.
26 years of creating these things.
Yes, creating them traditionally. Over 20 years ago, bringing in technology from our founder's vision, scanning, digital sculpting. While it was archaic back then, the sculpting, but it was a step into it and then physically output it. So when I've come on board, I look at that workflow for the past year and say, okay, this is an established workflow. We know the result, but what can we change between the letters A and Y before we get to Z?
Okay.
And within those letter changes, we become more efficient. We introduce newer technologies, newer materials to downstream workflow it much more efficient and faster to give our painters a bigger deadline. We are now actually opening it back up for them so they have more breathing room inside of there.
And see, that's huge.
Their craft.
That's huge. And additive is a part of it. And actually, we have this Mimaki machine right behind us, and that's part of what's enabling you to do this.
Huge. So yes, we brought in full color technology right before the end of the year, and we've been doing a lot of R&D before getting to that decision. A lot of R&D, but I decided to look at this differently. Rather than just color 3D printing, we're going to break it down into 3 specific lanes of our take, Gentle Giant's view, on what we think color 3D printing is. First lane is product IP. You know your Mickeys, you know your Bugs Bunnies, you know all the characters.
Oh, like that sort of IP, like Lucasfilm, Disney, Warner Brothers.
You got it.
IP.
Right? Like Mickey's got a specific red. That's just not red.
Well, that makes sense, right? The IP around their characters is going to encapsulate the look and feel of them. And when I've done digital things with certain characters, the color, bringing that to the real world via 3D printing, like with a Mimaki here, it's difficult.
Very difficult, right? Color accuracy is the one difficult box. The next box that's super difficult, that ruins it all, is print quality. If something doesn't hold up to the quality, everything else follows suit. They don't care about the color now because they can't get past the quality.
And if they can't get past the color or the quality or one aspect of it, then the entire character's ruined. It's no longer an IP character.
Entire character is ruined, but more importantly, and the more negative aspect of that is the technology now doesn't have a chance. It has a bias against it.
Yeah.
And they want to go back to a traditional way that they've always done that. So on top of just having a color printer, we realized that we were going to have to develop more than just the print, if that makes sense.
Well, the entire workflow of this lane, you have to develop it.
That means understanding color profiling, that hardcore monitor calibration, and we can get into that later, but knowing what we can and can't produce in color, right? It's very difficult if you look at Frozen, if you look at Elsa's skin, that's a very complicated, that's very difficult to hit that exact color and get a sign off.
Well, skin is hard, and
Very difficult.
specific skin is even harder.
You got it. So we focus our R&D effort on what can we cannot do, and we made house color palettes for each of our clients that we work for, what their full spectrum of color is. And then we have sub-color palettes that go down into skin tones, hair colors, things like that. And when an artist is working on said property, doing a Mickey, that I'll show you in a second, they have the call-outs that they know fall under the approved color match to what we've been traditionally doing.
Oh, because this color palette that you've created is what your digital workflow can create. And if that's approved by the IP holders for their characters, then everybody wins.
This is why I love you. Exactly. You got it. And it's a very simplistic way of looking at it. So I'll show you an example.
Yeah, please.
So this is our first R&D output. And here's the result.
Can I hold Mickey?
Yep. You'll notice the colors are beyond accurate.
This is what I remember. Like, if I think back to this Mickey Mouse and what I remember in animation, this is it. Like, this matches my memory.
If you'll look at it, outside of the color, remember that there's not any paint on this.
Wait, this is a print.
This is a print right off the Mimaki. But if you look at it, you'll notice one thing. It feels like a product. You do not see what I call the DNA fingerprint left behind from the technology. There's no layer lines.
Well, when they would do something like this traditionally, we're talking about injection molded pieces.
Injection
No
molded
layer
pieces.
lines, very smooth,
You got it.
solid feeling.
You got it.
This feels injection molded.
I could talk for hours on how we developed this, but it's actually very, very simple. We knew that we weren't going to get absolute studio approval final straight off of a printer.
Right.
It's not, because
No.
straight off a printer, it's going to look like a 3D print. However, now we go back to our traditional skill set. Can we develop a technique and a process that allows us to coat this and fill in the peaks and valleys while enhancing the color on top of it?
Now, in FFF printing,
Yes.
we have our layer lines. We print at 0.2 millimeters, 0.1, whatever, right? Whatever. But we always have our layer lines. And even when we go large with certain technologies, there's peaks you have to sand down and valleys you have to fill in before you do priming and painting and all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, in those methods, right, you're either going to like Bondo fill or a filled primer, if you
Yep,
will, and then you take it down. Here, we're bringing it back to a traditional world of urethanes now.
Oh.
Yeah. So we've developed a process where we take the final print and we coat it in stages. And we can't let all the tricks out of the bag, but there's a lot of different techniques that you learn over the years that you reapply years later into technology-driven products and solutions.
So this is that staged urethane coating.
Correct. Now,
Jason, this is amazing.
it's beyond amazing, and for that to be the first R&D output, we knew we were heading in the right direction. And one thing I will say is, if we're going to do something that has a matte final finish, we'll actually coat and gloss and matte at the end.
Well, because I'm noticing when I look at this, it's not glossy. It has a reflectiveness just because it's a plastic piece, right?
got it.
But it's not glossy.
My target throughout this, waiting for this to finish printing and get into that next step, was maker's mark, top of the bottle that's dipped into the red wax. So now look at the back of that.
That is a wax seal right there. Oh,
That's what we wanted to hit for that.
Okay.
And
you
think-
did.
And we think we did a pretty good
You
job.
absolutely did on your first try.
First try.
Not like Lego Batman first try.
And we've developed it beyond this. So second output is same vein.
Can I hold this?
Of course you can.
This is Thanos. Dude. And I'm looking on the bottom sides of things, thinking
Exactly.
of support structure removal, but there's none of that. He's not glossy, but his teeth and his eyes are.
We have different techniques. So we can isolate areas. We can really bring it to life depending on what the call out is. These are both R&D examples.
This was just research. This was you like, we're gonna mess around and see what we can do.
Does this work enough that we can present our result of R&D to a studio, people blown away.
Okay.
You get their minds going. But so let's take that and apply it to an actual physical job.
Okay, a job, an
And-
official job. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Once again, zero paint. These are not done in one shot, by the way. We do them in keyed pieces.
Okay.
And there's a reason why. A, it's a lot easier if you do have to clean up something. But B, there's limitations within color as you're laying it down. Large flats, right, of a single color, a black or a brown, it's probably going to look streaky.
Oh, just those slight variations in how it's laid down. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So you know the weaknesses, and this is a good
Can I pick
tip.
them up?
Of course you can. And this is a good tip for anybody getting into printing. Know your technology's weakness, because once you know the weakness, you know how to battle it. You can figure out the tactic for battling it. So with that weakness, we now cut all of the geometry and key it, male and female, and we orient each cut piece to counter the weakness of how the printer lays down color.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
If we print this in one shot, we've now sacrificed this model to just get an overall color.
Right.
But if we cut the head off, if the hair is a different piece, the arms are a different piece, the legs are a different piece that plug in, now we can orient every part of this body for the preferred matched resolution of the printer.
I see.
And get the best laydown of color.
Well, normally what we're doing is we will orient pieces so that either there's less support or support in certain areas that we can take off easier.
Correct.
And you're like, hold my beer, don't worry. We're going to take that and we're going to orient for color and color application.
So resolution of the print plus the color laydown, and then we get the best uniform color out of the machine.
Like, I've seen this movie. These are beloved characters.
There you go.
And part of the whimsy of those characters that you have to recreate in the real world, you've done.
It's
this
phenomenal.
is fun.
It's
This is
phenomenal.
fun.
I get goosebumps every day. I'm blessed every day when I see these outputs, because I know we can push this industry. Now remember, this is only one of the 3 lanes that we've identified. And this is a huge lane. This is the bulk of our relationships, is doing studio-driven work like this.
Okay.
So now, on top of just being able to do this, now we educate back to the clients, like, this is where the technology's at. This is what we're able to do by marrying this tech and material with our traditional processes to give you the quality that you've been looking for.
Well, and once they see this, then their minds just must run like crazy, because they're like, oh, this is possible. This means you can do this and this and this.
You got it. Now, if I have to do 3 of these, I'll have exact on all 3. If I have to do 3 traditionally, there might be some variation.
There might be a variation,
especially when you get into, like, think about it. If this was going to be painted traditionally, look at all that dress pattern work. And now you have to do it on 3.
And if we're talking about a cartoon character, especially a digital cartoon character, then it has to be precise.
It's not just us that's part of this approval process. The whole world that are fans that are looking at this stuff are actually part of the approval process, because if they don't like what they see, they're going to hear about it in comments.
The joy is wonderful. The anxiety is wonderful. Mickey's wonderful. Thanos, I can't say he's wonderful, but he's wonderful. He's Thanos,
It's a hard one, right?
It is a hard one. And I feel like there's more still, right?
Remember, I said there's 3 lanes to how we were looking at color.
Yes.
So lane 1, we check the box.
Okay, lane 1, check.
And that's our workflow now. We develop on top of it and see if we can push it even more. But right now we're locked, and that's how we're delivering. So lane 2.
Lane 2.
Lane 2 is a cool lane. Creation.
Creation.
What's in that mind?
Okay, well, not a lot right now, but...
But anything that's in there, we're going to try to get out.
Okay, so rather than taking known IP, you're taking things from thought processes yourself.
Yeah, think specialty collectibles, more stepping into an art form, if you will,
Okay.
of creation. So with that being said, here's our first R&D of that.
Dude.
For the Grateful Dead estate.
This is printed!
It's printed in one shot. It's a pretty amazing piece.
Yeah.
What I really like about the piece is that it marries with a traditional ceramic base. So now we have modern modern
Here, you hold that.
and ceramicist work that blend together.
Oh, this is like non-printed, ceramic. Traditional art made
So
this.
that's what we really like here is when we blend everything, right? So this is a beautiful piece that was enabled by technology. And because of the resolution, like if you look at those spores on the inside, there's no way to do this.
No, there's depth and there's high detail at depth.
High detail, there's translucency within the color. There's texture eyes on top of the skull, on top of the cranium.
Yeah.
People will say, oh, you printed the inside and then you cast it. No,
But I mean, you could.
100%.
Could, but I mean.
That opens up another ball of problems as well.
But there's no bubbles.
Bingo. No bubbles, and it is clear. You have clarity. Secondly,
it's transparent.
Yes. But what was really even cooler about this is understanding the refraction index of the material when you're embedding something inside of it.
Okay, we're looking through a transparent sphere at something. So then, is the geometry of the skull inside, like if we were to remove all the transparency, would the skull look different?
Yes.
That's so cool.
And that's what you have to do. Remember I said you play to weaknesses of technology? In this case, it's not a weakness.
No.
In this case, it's like, right, if we're going to put something inside...
It's physics.
You got it. So how can we now mess with depth? How can we mess with something appearing much larger than it is on the inside? Right? Now we can control the look. We control the distance from the front faces of the model to the inside edges of the surface of the sphere.
Oh, that's so cool.
I need to show you a visual example which explains it. So this next example, there's an embedded object just like this.
Okay.
But the ask was, on this object, it's a frog, we want the knees of the frog to be hitting the inside of the wall of the sphere. Someone would say right up, oh, just scale it up to the edge of the sphere. If you do that, it's going to look all out of distortion and things like that. So what's inside of here is a pretty tiny frog that's magnified to what the client asked for.
May I?
You may.
It's tiny.
Tiny, not meaning micro tiny.
No.
But it is not the scale that you're looking at it.
Okay, well, because if I look at the side and I look at the nose of the frog, it looks like it's just right up against there. But then I do this and I know that there's depth and there is no way it's actually that close. And so the lensing or whatever that we're getting by looking through this transparent sphere is giving us these distortions. But when you approach it head on, you're like, oh, the knees are right up against the edge of that sphere. And then you look on the side and you're like, oh, no, they're not.
Exactly.
No, they're not. Jason, it's printed.
It's pretty cool. That's lane number 2. But within lane number 2, here's another nice discovery.
Okay, so this is printed.
That's printed. That's what it looks like when it comes off.
Okay.
I want you to drop it. What are you normally told when you're handed a 3D printed part?
Well, when I'm handed something that I believe to be is fragile, I tend to hold on to it really tight, and I would be in trouble if I dropped it.
Please drop.
So, what?
Please drop.
Like my heart's beating, Jason.
Take a step out.
Okay.
Drop it.
Ah! Oh!
Now bounce it.
What?
Go for it.
Good Lord, okay. I'm sweating, Jason.
I'm asking you to do it.
I know. This doesn't make any sense. What?
This is very important for us. Being able to have it withstand.
But this is, okay, so something like this wonderful piece of art that you've created that bends physics to make it look the way it does. If someone were to accidentally drop it, you just polish off that spot and it's good to go.
If it even scuffs. This is an unfinished
Just put that anywhere.
marble, right? Scaled down.
Yeah. Oh, a marble. Okay.
And this is how we discovered this. This marble, in conversation, just fell. And the energy return on it was almost 1-to-1.
Oh.
So now we know that we can provide materials that when accidents do happen, or even shows like we're doing now, we have a robust material.
This is like new science with this stuff.
It's pretty amazing. And I really have to give the credit over to the Japanese team that is working on materials and things like that. That's huge for us.
I was just going to be careful about handing it to you, but I guess I don't have to be careful about handing it to you.
Which is,
okay, so that's lane 2.
That's lane 2.
Lane 2.
The
Okay.
third lane is the most difficult lane. Scanning humans and animals, 3D scanning humans and animals in color,
Okay.
getting correct color representation before it's a final model, then fed into the printer and to be output without shadows baked in to look like when the subject matter was here getting scanned.
Oh my God, without shadows. We've, like, producer David and I, we've taken some cool images when we've been on location with like Polycam.
Yep.
And those shadows are baked in, like you can't get rid of them.
Correct. Unless you utilize AI tools and specific programs and develop a workflow. And this is what I've been saying my whole career. I love 3D printing. Everyone knows I love 3D printing like crazy. I've been doing it for about 20 years. But it's moot because I'm spending most of my time before the print preparing for the print.
Okay.
Right? So I firmly believe that software is a huge driver to even better quality and doing things that you just have never been seen before. So the result.
Result. This is the end product. This is the cool thing.
So this is a scan with 140 plus cameras, utilizing AI tools to fill in areas like under armpit and things like that that couldn't have been captured.
Okay.
No artistry on top of it. Nothing's recreated. So it's everything from the capture.
Oh, okay. This is the capture with your workflow end
Correct.
product.
No digital sculptor on top of it, painting or anything like that.
Wow. Wow. So this is his tattoo. This is Kid Cudi. Has Kid Cudi seen this?
Oh, he's in love with it. He's got one on top of his mantle.
As he should.
And then
that's amazing.
And then you take it to...
Wait. But the surface, like the skin, like we talk about subsurface light scattering on skin and stuff.
So yeah, we're fully color corrected, and we make adjustments in that color correction, understanding the process of our coating that's going to be applied traditionally.
Okay.
And then we have the result. In my opinion, when you 3D print in color humans, no matter what technology you use, I feel that it falls more on a yellow hue overall to the colors.
Yeah.
We need to bring them back into reality, and we think we've figured out the way.
Well, I mean, you've put forth some incredible evidence to prove your theory here.
Yep. So we took it one step further. This is difficult.
Yes.
But now if we bring in more colors and contrasts that make it very difficult to differentiate between a black and a dark blue and things like that.
Oh, okay.
It becomes very difficult. So working within those tool sets.
Oh, that's really good. It's finished here. This looks like a different material than this.
You got it.
That would be so hard to do.
So it's super exciting for us. We think it's results that people haven't seen before. It's a completely different look at color. Normally people have one specific function for color. Like if you look at Leica with all their puppets that they're doing facial replacement, that's their need.
Yeah, of course.
We service many different types of needs here. So that's why we broke it down to 3 lanes. And I'd like to show you what supports that now in those 2 other groups.
Oh, right over here?
Yep.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
It looks like we're in the paint area, and I see some color palettes behind us. Is this part of it?
Yeah, so this applies to lane 1 and lane 3 of the photogrammetry and the product IP.
Oh, okay.
I'll give it to you in a nutshell, and then you can dissect it. We know what the color profile is of the printer driver.
Yes.
We know what our clients' expectations are of color. I spoke to the reds for Mickey, yellows for Tweety Birds. So now we get all monitors on calibration together. Okay. And we start building color palettes spearheaded from our traditional head of paint department, Scott, because he knows color.
These are like, we can do this to match your stuff.
The families. So these are generic profiles that we put up for today's example.
Okay.
But picture a Disney palette, whatever property palette. Every digital artist has one of these physically on their desk. These are output straight from the Mimaki.
Oh!
They're not
Jason,
paper.
I thought these were paper printed.
They're physical printouts of the colors that...
Of course. This makes sense.
In the families that are approved. So now when they're applied, we can just say, give me 05 for that blue.
It just all coalesced. Like, these are from the Mimaki. Of course they're from the Mimaki because these are what you're capable of doing.
Correct.
Good Lord.
Then Scott's developed sub-palettes. Meaning, think about, I keep saying it, Elsa from Frozen.
Right.
That skin tone. Can we hit it? So we have a skin tone palette. We hit it. This is how our approach has been. And this even applies to photogrammetry because now we can put this in a real lit environment to understand colors as they're blending together. It just opens up the door. And more importantly, it also shows us what we can't reproduce to try to figure out. So now we mix, at times we can mix a digital output in color to a traditional craftsmanship of paint to come up with the final look.
Dude, this is insane. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. And it makes total sense because you're taking the output of the machine, you're handing it to the client, and the client says, we approve of these colors. And you're like, okay, we can now do anything.
Now, by the way, these are 3 months old in our R&D. So we have evolved much further than what you see here. R&D's never done in this color world.
No, of course it's not. You're always going to be better.
We're going to be pushing. But we think we've done a pretty good job, and we think everyone at Rapid and all the shows that see our work are really going to be impressed.
Oh, 100%. And that's actually great. I know you have to run, but everybody that's watching right now, you get to see this at Rapid TCT in Los Angeles. You get to see Jason and Gentle Giant Studios at the Hollywood Showcase. There's actually a code down in the description. We can get people in for free. Go to the link, use the code, you get in for free, and you can see Jason. You can actually give him a high five and a hug. You can go to Gentle Giant Studios at the Hollywood Showcase.
That's right.
Like, I'm gonna be there. Thanks for watching. If you made this fire awesome, don't forget to hug each other more, fight for a cause you believe in, and 3D print all the colors. And as always, high five. You want one?
Hell yeah, I want one.
Let's do it.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, dude.
Always a pleasure.
Dude, I love you. Come here.
Love you too, man.
All right, let's go. Come on, quick.
Okay.